Welcome to Prime Space, a Prime Coaching Academy podcast with your host, Elias Scultori. And hello, coaches. I am here smiling because I have today a dear friend and wonderful coach here to spend these next 15 minutes together with me. I have Coach Camilla Cesari, and I was practicing how to pronounce your last name here, Camilla. Welcome to Prime Space.
Thank you, Elias. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm very, very excited to be here with you and your audience today.
Oh, it's a true joy. Every time I speak with Camilla, there is a smile on my face because you bring so much sunshine and energy into the conversation, Camilla. It's truly a joy. It really fulfills my heart here to have this interaction with you and to call you my colleague and my friend. For those of you who do not know Camilla, she is an MCC coach, fabulous coach. She is a coach trainer, fabulous coach trainer, mentor. She assesses for several different coaching training programs. She has been a coach for 15 years and she met coaching. She found coaching when she was in Australia. And at that time, she was doing international tax law. She was doing her MBA and she fell in love with coaching. And from that point on, she became a full-time coach and really went into the industry with her whole commitment here. And now Camilla has worked. She is really a worldwide coach. She has coaches clients in over 50 countries, in leaders and teams. But now there is an emphasis. This is what Camilla was telling me, that there is an emphasis on supporting coaches while she's training and mentoring to go beyond the rules and be able to fully express themselves in the coaching process. Oh, you spoke my language, Camilla, because that is exactly my point here. I so appreciate that. So, Camilla, welcome to Prime Space.
Thank you, Elias. And you spoke about sunshine. For me, I'm speaking about music and harmony when I connect with you.
And this is something that you shared, that it's important to you. The adventure of nature and feeling the energy of nature is so important to you. You share that in every moment that you are here. But I brought Camilla here because Camilla is right now talking from Italy, and Camilla is an Italian coach. And in the series of Culture and Coaching, I thought that it would be important for Camilla to share a little bit of the nuances of Italian culture and what might or might not influence the coaching when we are working with Italian clients. So, Camilla, just to get started here, a question: what should coaches keep in mind if they are working with someone that comes from Italy?
Yeah. So when I think about Italians and I think about Italy, I think there are so many fascinating aspects to consider. And the geography and the political and the social, the history has shaped us a lot as a culture, as a population. So first of all, geographically, so Italy is a peninsula that extends in the Mediterranean, which made it a crossroads of trade, cultural exchange for ages. And so this central position of cross-pollination, of crossing of cultures contributed to an expressive communication style, relationship-oriented approach, and we're very used to interaction. Italy also has an incredible diversity in landscape and people. We have different climates, mountains, valleys, plains, diversity in local produce. We're very proud that we eat different things, even though to the foreigner eye they might look the same. They might say different kinds of pasta, like they might seem similar kinds of pasta, where we're like, no, like the feeling is slightly different. So we have a pride in our regional differences. There's different patterns. There's a sort of a north-south divide, which makes us slightly different in work styles and attitudes towards time and structures. So these regional differences, run deep.
I appreciate what you're describing there, and just listening to what you're saying about Italian culture. What is coming to surface for me, and I think it's very valuable to us listeners, is this richness of uh, experience that the culture has brought to the individuals. You were raised in a place where there is so much richness of culture. Italy is an old country compared to the US, that is a young country. So there is I, what's coming up for me is this idea that the Italian culture was exposed to so much different perspectives and a broad aspect of life that perhaps people in America, and when I say America, I say South America, Central America, North America, the whole America, may not have had culturally the same extent as Italy has. What are your thoughts there?
Absolutely, absolutely. Very ancient and rich, beautiful cultures, which we study nowadays. When I was in school, I studied Latin, ancient Greek, all the beauty and the things of the Renaissance, the arts. So a lot of richness, and yet we are a very young, in a way, country, because we got put together in 1861. And up until then, we were really different political and social systems. So for a long time, for instance, to touch on another thing, there has been a division between land that pertained to the church and the Pope, and the land that pertained to the emperors. And let me share something about my hometown, which I think is peculiar. So in medieval Bologna, I live in Bologna, the society was deeply divided between two rival political factions, like the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. So the Guelphs supported the papal authority, and the Ghibellines backed the Holy Roman Emperor. And this division went beyond mere politics. It permeated daily life, even architecture. So we have squared top merlons that identified the buildings owned by the Guelph families, and swallowtail shaped merlons were on the top of buildings that belonged to families loyal to the emperor. So Bologna's skyline became a visual map of political division, and many of these distinctive battlements can still be seen today. And so these two were two different souls. It was not just one being with one side and one with the other. They held different characteristics of the way that these people went through life. So
this is fascinating, and I hope that you, the listener, is paying attention to the richness of history that may be at play, and not may, it will be at play with the individual. That particular individual that has grown in a culture that has all of these intricacies, all of these separations, all of these historical moments, all of this, the unity of the kingdoms and the papal separation and all of it. There is an open, as you were saying, that when you were in college, you had to learn Latin and Greek culture and all of this. There is a richness in that person's mindset and in that person's view of the world that will inevitably influence the coaching process. That's what I'm getting from this. What do you think, Camilla?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are some traits and that I see as strengths, as cultural strengths of Italians.
The other thing that, and we talked a little bit about this before we hit the recording button, is because there is so much diversity in in the culture, the importance for us to, yes, this person is from Italy, but this person is a unique individual. I would
Yeah.
love for you to talk about that, Camilla.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can, I always say that we coach the person, not the culture. So I think it is very, very essential and fair to consider that, first of all, in front of us, we have an individual, and we're all human beings, isn't it? Um, Made of the same substance. And then, for sure, it is important, it might be important to consider context. Um, Yet, we need to really remember and know that we are connecting human to human. We're humans, and so in respect to considering the context, first of all, I would ask the client, I would say to the client, is there something that you believe it is important for me to know, being the first time or me not being very acquainted with how you live your life in your country. So is there anything that I should know that it would be best for me to know, to coach you, to be the best coach possible for you? And also maybe do some research, but always doing research considering what is truly useful and what might be actually getting in the way for us to be truly with that person in partnership. And so what could nurture some assumptions or might create bias that we otherwise wouldn't have. So there's this reflection on this balance between what I know that is useful and what might actually get in the way for doing what I need to do with this person.
And this is at the core of this series, the culture in culture for me is, yes, there is the context that I think it's very helpful for us to be mindful of. So in today's episodes, we are talking about the context of growing up and becoming and being an Italian person. But at the same time, for us as coaches to be very careful on how these labels can get in the way of meeting the individual, the person, regardless of where a person comes from, regardless of where the client comes from. That client is an individual, is a unique person. And for us to, yes, utilize context as something that supports, but primarily be very open to meeting the person as who they are as an individual person. So I so appreciate you bringing that nuance here. When you think of the context of Italian culture here, what are uh, particular strengths that you see that a client from your culture might bring to the coaching conversation, Camilla?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can see many strengths. Many strengths. I'm biased, so maybe I'm also very positivity oriented, but I see a lot of creativity, innovation, um, the capacity or ability to think outside conventional boundaries. I see a lot of adaptability and resilience. So also thinking back how, our history, navigating through complex situation or bureaucracy. This needs a lot of skill. I also can see strong interpersonal skills and capacity, emotional intelligence. We are a lot with each other. And also we are willing to engage in passionate debates around our ideas and go deep in there. Resourcefulness in problem solving, and also appreciation for quality, aesthetics, that also can inform, vision setting. And definitely, as I said before, a strong sense of regional and cultural identity and pride, that also can provide, some grounding and yeah.
Yeah, I am fascinated by it. I have to. I didn't mention this. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the conversation here. But I would say that perhaps 25% of of my blood comes from the Italian peninsula. My great grandfather came from Italy to Brazil, so I've always been fascinated by Italian culture. But listening to your description there, I can see like the richness that the culture and the history of the country might be playing in the background of working with an Italian client. And I can even think of some of the Italian clients that I had, and I can see that openness, that creativity, that thinking outside of the box, and seeing the world through a much broader lens. And it's fascinating. And I know that this is not the place that you usually go here, but here comes the question, Camilla. What are possible challenges working with an Italian client?
Yeah, this is a more difficult question for me. I would say really that maybe some challenges might come from these strengths overplayed. When we go a little bit excessive into something, too much creativity, too much parallel thinking, or then this sense of like extra quality aesthetics, the passion for something. I think maybe overplaying some of these strengths might, as it often happens, might become a point of attention.
Yeah, I love what you're saying here, and to me, it applies not only for Italian clients, but for everyone. When our strengths can go overboard and all of a sudden start being detrimental to ourselves. We are passionate. I love passion. I'm a passionate individual myself, probably because my Italian blood, but I can see in myself how many times my passion can go overboard and prevent me from seeing things more clearly. So I love that regardless of the client, regardless of where the client comes from, how strengths can become, if we extend it too much, how that strength can go to a place that it becomes detrimental. So thank you for that, Camilla. I'm sorry that we don't have more time to talk here. But we will bring you back because you, not only about Italy, I would love to talk to you about your adventures in coaching and other aspects of coaching, because you're doing so much and a lot here. Any final words that you would like to give to our listeners here when we are thinking about Italy and coaches in Italy and clients in Italy, or your insights in general?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks. It's I'm always happy to be with you. It's always a great space. I believe adventure, try, coach, experiment. From my experience, I can say really I take a lot of pleasure by coaching different cultures and learning and engaging and getting in contact with different styles. It's so inspiring for me, truly. And we have this gift of being different, of being placed in different places, being exposed to different things. And it quenches my thirst for learning, but also for self-reflection. I think it's a great space. So go coach globally.
Coach globally. Yes, coach as many clients as possible with as many different backgrounds as possible. There is so much richness and beauty all around. And so, Camilla, thank you for enriching us here today. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. I will put in the description of the podcast a way for you to contact Camilla if you want to continue the conversation and learn more about her practice, because she's doing fantastic work in the world. But for now, everybody, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and share these episodes with other people. And I will see you next time. Take care.